Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate for basic human rights for all people. My motto is that thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And I guess I have come to realize that as I've spent 33 years advocating such a pursuit, I realize a truth that I'm just willing to share with you. Now, I've asked you to make me the next president of the United States of America. And I've asked those of you who consider yourselves part of the 99%. I've asked you to do this because what you have demonstrated in the streets, being persecuted as you have and stood up, then that tells me that perhaps you have recognized at least enough about what's going on in the world to make a choice that you want to do something about at least where it affects you. And so that to satisfy you all, you have come together. We've come together under that umbrella that we are all dissatisfied in some way, some form or fashion that's important enough for us to stand here and demonstrate against the norm. And I think that is a heck of a statement. And it is those like you who think like that, who are ready to make the move, should you be given an opportunity to understand the truth of what's really going on and a way to apply yourself in a victorious kind of way. I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, that I ask for a change. I ask to demonstrate to the world, and I ask that those who are willing, those who can, to support the cause of something that is absolutely beautiful, something that is absolutely fantastic. You know, ladies and gentlemen, in order for you to understand where I'm coming from tonight, I want you to come here with me. Let me help you get here. Everything that's going on is a scam. Everything in life that's going on, the way our system sets up. And I'm telling you up front, I'm speaking about a system that fails. And so that you don't think I'm focusing on any specific, I want you to know that communism is a failure. Every form of government is a failure. Socialism is a failure. Now, there's one thing that is beautiful about democracy, and that is that the people got a voice. People got a choice. I mean, you were given that opportunity to speak up. Even though you might be persecuted for speaking up, you were given that opportunity. And those of you who have awakened, if the opportunity was taken away from you, you still stand and do what is required of you to do in representation of where you are. Otherwise, everybody stays in darkness. You are the light of the world. And the thing that makes you unique is that you do things in the spirit of love. You know, when I say that this is a scam, everybody desires a wonderful life, and that's natural. Everyone is supposed to act as though they're in the Garden of Eden. It was prepared that way. And if people acted as if they were guided by such principles as that, they could enjoy that. But we are caught up with a lie. We have been deceived. For every truth, there is a lie that we have been fed. And we've had those lies fed to us in such a way till both of them become divine. And we, either way we go, are at odds with the truth. Because the truth requires that you stand alone if you must. There is no other way for truth to exist unless it stand up and be identified. Oh, there might be a wonderful price to pay for truth, but truth leads one to know that as the butterfly represents you know what, so is the truth to you. You recognize that even in capitalism, there's a failure. It was designed to fail this way. It was not perhaps intended to a greater degree by a lot of people that was involved, but for some, it was exactly what they set out to do. And that is natural too. It is nothing to be persecuted about. It's just natural because people do what people know. And when a person leaves one place, they take what they know with them. And you can't hide from that. We've all been brought that way. And there is a way to freedom. And that freedom lets you embrace what others see as division. It shows you a way to stand that brings things together if it would. And why? Because it satisfies. It satisfies the rich. It satisfies the poor. And anything in between, you know, hey, you just got to be satisfied because you got it coming from every direction. Now, as one who wants to serve you as President of the United States, I want you to know that we're living in a system that has produced what you see, and it is designed that way. That is not to knock it. That is not to point my fingers at Republicans. That is not to point my fingers at Democrats. That is not for me to point my fingers at you. That is just the way it is. And it is that way because you are that way. You are that way. And there's nothing wrong with that when you don't know any better. But somebody got to stand up and tell you better. And what good is it for someone to think they know what's better and sit on their bottom? And if it is better, they should be able to demonstrate it to you even in words in such a way that if given an ear, the beholder would understand and see the truth of the light and choose that way to walk. But in the deceptive way, which would deny the opportunity to even hear, then the truth must stand. And the truth stands that even though you find yourselves causing people to commit crime, economic crimes, because they find it necessary to help facilitate their desires in the life that they live. The system, you think they would choose to do that if there were another way to do it? A way that would work for them? I'm not talking about ways that work for somebody else. I'm talking about ways that would work for them. You think they would still do that? I don't think so. I think they'd love to do it in peace and harmony and comfort, not running from the law. I think they'd love to do that. So if they would love to do it, why should they be denied? You have to be denied when you're living according to some principles that build some up while keeps you down. And that is the way of the world. That's the way of the world. Not trying to knock that. My only point in coming to you and saying this is that there's a power that's real, ladies and gentlemen. And I can tell you that because, see, I did not come from a monkey. I came from that which was created as man. And I don't live on a planet that happened because of a big bang. I live on a planet that was created by a power unknown. But it's here. And in the midst of all of this, I understand that people who live by what other people say are like trash blowing in the wind. What they hear today might be just fine, and tomorrow they're going another way. It's just whatever is satisfying. And why not? They both produce the same outcome. The same outcome. But the power that loves you came up with a different kind of way. A way that would work for you. The way that would work for you. The way that would work for you. And it comes by letting you know who created this. Who made everything. Who's the boss. And I'm going to tell you, the boss is God. The boss is no government. The boss of peace. The boss of prosperity. The boss of joy. Not the boss of war and terrorism and oppression. No, that's another God. I'm talking about a God of liberty. A God that sets you free. A God that fills your mind with such enlightenment and such delight that you just jump out and the whole room all around you glows because you represent something so lovingly new, something that's from God. And you know who gets the credit? God gets the credit. Because you know, if you don't know, I want you to know from my own mouth. Whoo, this has been a rough road. But I can sit here tonight and tell you what I'm telling you because I know exactly what it's all about. And I can't be pissed off with you even though at times I have been. because I didn't know what I know now. And that is this. We are what we are. We can be no more than that. Some of us have things that will prevent us from doing this and doing that. That doesn't make us any different from anybody else who might have some other reasons for doing the same thing in a different area. We all just going and going, as blind as we can be. And what is it, as I have to keep on saying to you while I'm talking to you, I got your attention out here for this few minutes. The thing is that since everything belongs to God, no one is supposed to oppress you, and force you to do something their way. It's okay if you all agree on it. But you disagree, and they force you to go that way, and it keeps you from having the life that you wish or hope that you could have. And you have to find yourself doing all these other things, getting yourself all caught up in these other things that they try to throw at you and use at you because they want the blame to be on you and not on their failure. Their failure to incorporate compassion for you. Not only for you, but doing what God wants done. See, there's always two voices. One say kill, another one say thou shalt not kill. And then you get confused because somebody puts it on you and got you believing that both of them are true. That both of them represent truth. Yes, they do. Both represent truth. But one gives life and one destroys. And the one that destroys will shoot you down because they don't know any better. But if you know the truth, you got to stand. Why? Because if you don't stand, the truth will be hid. You can't be complacent. That's not getting you anywhere. That's why you get caught up in listening to preachers and going to churches and stuff. Because you don't want to be real. And they are not real. They are not real. If they were real, how in the world can a God of love allow poverty to exist through an economic system that takes from people? How in the world could some people be led by the true Spirit of God, allow wars, all this filth that happens in this world because people have to go through so many changes, competing against one another, trying to outdo one another to benefit at a status that's superior, as they give it, to others, rather than embrace a way of life that allows every man to be free, every woman to be free, everyone to be educated as best they want to be, or everyone to be having available to them the best health care, the best dental system, everything just beautiful. Why? Because that's what you, the people, want. Every last one of you want it. Every last one of you want it. So why in the world would you sit up there and try to have it for some and disallow it for others? And if there is anything that you try to justify it by, then you got to get rid of that junk. It ain't nothing but junk. It's a lie. And you got to mend that fence. And you got to start looking after one another. And you got to stop letting these people lie to you and cause pain and suffering amongst your brothers and your sisters. I don't care where you at. If you're not doing that, it's because you ain't got there yet. So you're not being condemned through this conversation. I hope you don't think I'm trying to condemn you. I'm just telling you what the reflection is, what the picture is. And I don't believe that you want to really be like that. You have just been trained that that is okay. That is not okay. That is not okay. If you believe in God, you better start acting like it. And I'm talking about a God of love. I'm not talking about a God of death. I'm talking about a God that will stand up for truth. And you're not afraid to stand up for truth. And if somebody wants to shoot you down, it's only because they're ignorant. And you must stand. Stand. Now, if you know the truth, you know the truth. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Whatever is, will be. Now, I just wanted to let you know a little bit that a scam is going on. Poverty exists because of scams. Wars exist because of scams. Crime and violence exist because of scams. Scams were set up by people who were scammers, who had been scammed, and so on down the line. And it just kept on passing stuff down. And when you try to pass laws to end one thing, somebody else was making up on the other end. Why? Because that's the cycle. How can you do right when you have no idea what right is? Why in the world can you do right when you have no idea what right is? If you knew what was right, oh, you've been given an opportunity, but you have accepted a way of righteousness that ain't worth it. Well, the truth be known, you know I'm telling you the truth. So I'm saying, by the power of Almighty God, all you churches out there, I know you are following tradition. I know you doing what was done before. I mean, it was accepted then, so why rock the boat? Just keep on keeping on. But that is not God, ladies and gentlemen. That's following a false God. The true God keeps leading you higher and higher and higher into pure ecstasy of life. Not through fear and bondage and oppressing others and taking from others and acting a fool. No, that's not the real God. That's not the God of love. That's the God of deception. You think I'm lying? I'm not lying to you. Now, how many of you want to be Pope? Stand up. I don't see a single one standing up. How many of you love to live as though you were millionaires? Ooh, look like everybody standing up, but I still see a few who are saying they don't have to be millionaires. They just want to be comfortable. Now, that's not asking too much from the Almighty God, who created everything. And some sucker came here and told a lie and convinced people to follow it. And people have been following it ever since the beginning of time. And God is literally out trying to find somebody to wake them up. Pow, pow, pow. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Know the truth, know the truth. Stand up, give the world a brand new light. Give them a brand new way to go. And this is why I'm talking to you 99%ers out there. If you're not thinking like that, if you're not thinking about your brothers that's standing out there with you whose interests might not be the same as yours, if you're not really committed for them, if you're just standing there because you're just trying to represent yourself, if each of you are out there trying to represent yourself and that's it, you're not worth the truth. Why? Because the truth leads you to know that the power is in unity, not just by standing there. You got to have compassionate spirit. You got to care about one another. Their interests must be important to you. That your interests must be important to them. And doggone it, as a people who are led by the true spirit of God, living on what God has put here for us, you darn right we can cause it to manifest. And anything that would prevent that from happening, what people would want to be led by such a power as that? Only those who are blind. Nobody who's enlightened want to follow a trap like that. So here again, I think, ladies and gentlemen, now I'm hoping that you're ready. Some of you at least. I don't expect every last one of you to be ready enough to stand up and show the light of God. By no means do I expect you to be ready to do that. I ain't that naive. But I do expect somebody to stand up and not me standing up alone. If I must stand alone, then I must stand alone. And hey, that's all right with me. But it's not all right with God. God wants you to wake up. Wake up. And not waking up means changing things. You're supposed to be the light of the world. You don't supposed to be up here following nobody what they're doing. But you don't know any better. You don't know any better. I'm telling you, who say you know God. If you only know the Bible, you don't know God. You just know what somebody told you about God, and you're going any way the wind blows. But if you knew God, you'd know love. You'd know truth. And truth would free you from the bondage of any system that denies God. Freedom, knowledge of God will free you from any system that denies the representation of God. God allows us to choose our way. We can be capitalistic. We can be socialistic. We can be communistic. We can be anything or any system we can come up with. And God can be expressed in it if the people are if the system is comprised of people who are filled with the spirit of love for one another. It doesn't matter. But if that spirit is conflicted with some junk, oh boy, we're going to have everything that we got. And so those of you who are real out there, I'm running for president. I want to be a write-in. You got to write my name in, Eddie Marcus, because my name won't be on the ballot. I got no money, and I'm not asking you for any. I'm just revealing to you truth. And if you are worthy of what the truth really produces, I don't have anything to worry about. I mean, everybody should be voting for me. Everybody should be voting for the program that I introduced to you. Everybody should be willing to participate in the program that I'm introducing to you, because in so doing, you begin to be alive. You begin to be who you are because you are somebody special and you are blessed. And the whole world needs your input in what is necessary to bring us peace, to bring us prosperity, to bring us joy. And by George, it's time the doors be open and the light come in and you get a chance to shine as you were made to shine. Now, I don't think that's asking too much. That means you got to be willing to pay the price. You got to be willing to stand up for truth. You can't be willing to say, well, we can't win. To hell, we can't win. All you got to do is stand up. All you got to do is stand up. And we are winners all the way. We're never losers. As long as we're willing to stand up, we're never losers. You don't forget that. As long as you're willing to stand up. But you got to stand up by the God of love. You're never losers. Don't be misled by that God of hate, that God of destruction, that God of death. Don't be misled by that. Make sure that whatever you do, every man, every woman, every child gets blessed with your love. You ain't down in some and up in another. Everyone is blessed with your love. You make sure that. And everything's going to be all right for those who learn from your life. Now, I'm going to go. I think I've done pretty good tonight, and I hope that you get something out of what's being said here today. I want you to know that there's a power unseen, and I call it God. It's a loving, wonderful power because all of you are protected. All of you are given the glory of what God has prepared right here for you. Using your brains and your minds to unfold, to uplift, to bring out all of your dreams and manifestations right here in the physical form so that you could see them because you are the instruments of the Almighty God. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, that we got to put this junk off of which we're going to competing. The other what, bigger than the strongest. I don't know what you call it, but we got to cut that junk out. We just got to turn it loose. We got to be willing to know that it's God that's got this power. We're just an instrument given here to glorify God in our lives in such a way that God looks at us and says, look at my child. Hey, now hey, if God is looking at you saying, look at my child, what in the world are you worried about? If your physical mother, your physical parents were sitting in the summer, look at my child, if they were that proud of you, what in the world would you have to be worried about? So how much so if God, the creator of everything, can look down at you and say, look at my child. He ain't talking about what the people think. He's talking about, are you exemplifying love in your life? Are you standing for what's right? And what's right? What's really right, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Reaching for the glory and making sure that you carry yourself in such a way that that which is hurt the most will be uplifted and liberated by the light that you shine in your truth. So don't you think you're going nowhere. You got with all this junk going on, you got to be, hey, you got to take this bag, baby. This is where you get a chance to show your light. Now I'm gonna go before you get bored with me, but I want to thank you so very much. And I hope when you go to the polls, you actually write in Eddie Marcus, the next president of the United States of America. A name won't be on the ballot. Name will not be on the ballot. But this is indication that not only are you fed up with what's been going on, you are going to be a participant in bringing about change. Change whereby we don't just count on me, or count on people who say they got the light. We're going to help that light to shine. We're going to commit ourselves and embrace it. We're going to cause it to be as beautiful as it can possibly be when put in all the love of us all. We're talking about a brand new day here in our time. Now, I think I got to leave now because I keep on talking. Bye-bye.